process, good people. And I know sometimes that process can feel discouraging. Sometimes that process can feel like death or punishment. But watch this. Gold has to go through a process of heat to get that gloss and shine. Olives have to go through a process of crushing to get that oil. Diamonds have to go through a process of pressure to get that glass look. You had to go through a process of a dark womb to become a living soul. There can be no promise without process. What it do, good people? Welcome back. Listen, we day 20, baby. We hatchet. I told you we hatchet. Day 20 of the 21-day live Soul Truth Hatch Challenge. Yes, sir. We almost done. And today, we talking about the process, good people. How important the process is to your promise. Listen, if you just joining us in day 20, welcome. I'm your host, FL, the life coach, but I'm your life coach. And if you've been rocking with me for the last 20 days, kudos. Like I said, you know what that means? You know what that tells me about you? You really serious about your personal development. You really serious about telling your soul truth. You really serious about daring to be you, hatching from those outdated beliefs and outdated thoughts that don't no longer serve you. So yeah, good people, we hatching, man. We only got one more day left, man. We only got one more day. But today, we talking about the process. Like I told you, everything in life has a process. I want you to listen to this and understand this, right? We're not rushing the process. We're not trying to speed up the process, right? Right? I'm telling you how important the process is to your promise, because the process is how you become. Look, I'm getting ahead of myself. Listen, if you abort your process, you kill your promise. The process and promise go hand in hand. Watch this. The process is necessary, right? Because what? It removes impurities like gold. Gold goes through a process of heat, right? To get that gloss or shine. But that heat removes the impurities of the gold, right? The process gives value, right? Watch this. When the olive gets crushed, that olive oil is expensive. When that diamond goes through that pressure and gets that glass gloss look, that diamond is expensive. The process gives value, right? And then the process prepares you to carry the promise, to live in the promise, right? There can be no promise without process, right? Think about that. The process is about becoming, right? This is not speeding it up. This is not trying to rush through it. If you abort your process, you abort the promise that's attached to it, right? Okay, let me bring this home, right? We had Joshua, one of our sons was delivered early, 5 months, 5.5 months, or whatever it was. My wife's placenta separated, right? And that caused Joshua to abort that process, right? So, because he had to abort the process, our promise died. Yeah, it was grief. We had to overcome it, but I'm trying to show you a point. The process is necessary for the becoming. Oh, man. If you rush or abort your process, you don't become the diamond. You don't become the olive oil, right? You don't have that gloss, shiny look that gold has when it endures the process. So listen, the process will always test you, because sometimes it feels, like I said, like death. It feels discouraging, right? Right? If you don't make the shift in your mind to understand that the process is making me hold or live in the dream, right? To live in it, right? You got to be it before you take hold. Man, look, promise requires process. Without heat, you heard me say this, without heat, there is no polish or shine on the gold. Without pressure, there is no diamond. Without process, right, there is no promise, no dream. See, people always say they chasing the dream. My question to people is, when you gonna catch it? When you gonna live in the dream, right? If you chasing the dream your whole life, then you really aborting the process. You ain't sticking to the process because the process at some point is going to allow you to catch the dream, live in the dream, embody the dream. Man, process before promise. That sperm cell, when it goes into that, when it finds that egg and penetrates the egg and it goes into that dark womb, it has to go through a process. Watch this, of embodying the life form from the sperm cell. The sperm cell is life, but it has to go through a process to embody that life, and then it's birth. Process before promise, good people. Listen, yes, sir. Before we get into it, y'all already know, man, this is day 20. We've been hatching all month long, and we're going to be transforming all year long. We're going to be getting into that amygdala, turning down that survival instinct, activating our prefrontal cortex, activating our hippocampus, right? And then freeing our soul, right? Letting our mind take over, right? And our soul connect to our body instead of having the program run our body. That's what hatching is all about. But you got to go through a process to regulate yourself to do that. Listen, the process isn't working against you. I want you to hear this today. The process isn't working against you. It's working on you. The process is working on you to be, to become, right? Listen, you have to be it before you live in it or hold it in your hand. That's what the process is all about. Burning out the impurities in you so you're able to stand underneath the weight of the dream or the promise. It's a process, good people. You cannot get there. Okay, let me say it like this. I've been in personal development for so long, coaching people. Let me say it like this. People, watch this. People overestimate what they can do in a year and they underestimate what they can do in 3 to 5 years, right? Process, right? People come to me all the time. Oh, I'm making $60,000 a year, $70,000 a year, whatever it is, right? And then they want to go from $70,000 a year to $1 million a year. What type of process do you think you got to endure for that? That's a process, good people. You're not going to jump from $70,000 a year and make an additional $930,000 in 12 months, right? You're going to have to go through the process of becoming that millionaire. So what does that mean? Habits. Your thoughts are going to have to align with that $1 million. Your daily habits are going to have to align with that $1 million. Your relationships are going to have to align with that million. The process. There can be no promise without process. Gold doesn't turn into gold without enduring that heat. Diamonds don't turn into a diamond without that process. The heat is burning out the impurities in the gold so it can gloss, so it can shine, baby, so it can come through and do what it do. You see what I'm saying? So it can dare to be it. But it takes a process to do that, right? Process and promise go hand in hand, right? Okay, so listen, man, we about to read the book. We about to jump into the book. The process is important. Right. So if you got your pen copy of the download, read along. If not, I'm going to pin this download in the comment section after the video so you can have your own copy. Okay. Life throws all type of challenges and puts all type of obstacles in your way. Sometimes we get discouraged along the way because the process of achieving our goal just seems too hard. You ever feel like that? Yeah. Gold doesn't turn into gold without enduring a process. You see, it's the process that gives the gold its shiny, glossy finish. There can be no promise. Remember that. The process and promise go hand in hand. If you abort your process, then you will kill your promise, good people. You will kill your promise. Watch this. Watch this. So now I want to drive this home with you. Gold doesn't turn into gold without enduring a process because the process burns out the impurities. Like I was saying, process and promise go hand in hand. Process is purposeful. You got to make the shift in your mind. Process is not punishment. Process is not delay. Process is purposeful. because it's making you be the thing that you are attached to, that you say you want. You have to become it before you live. Man, you got to see that. Pain is not pointless. Pain is data. Delay is data. Delay is not denial. It's giving you data, information where you are in your process. You got to, when something don't feel right, when something feels off, that is not denial, right? Or like delay or anything. That's the normal process. That's information telling you if you need to change something in the process, if you need to kill that whole process altogether and create a new process because that's not the right process. It's information, but nothing is created in life, my life or your life, without going through a process, good people. You cannot have the promise without the Okay, I'm gonna tie this into to the text. You already know how I do, baby. Neuropsychology, neuroscience in the text, baby. That's my lane. That's what I do. Watch this. Watch this. I already said this. If you kill the process, you kill the promise. But let's take it to the text, though, right? The children of Israel. Watch this. Israel, right? You have to just go back and read the story when they came out of slavery. Israel left slavery quickly. I want you to understand that it was quickly. The plagues came, boom, removed out of slavery quickly. Their bodies were free, but I want you to watch this. Their brain, their mind, and their nervous system wasn't free, right? So watch this. They've been slaves their whole life, right? So the wilderness was the process for them to be able to live in the promise. Because the wilderness, the whole point of the wilderness journey was to burn the slave mentality out of them, to regulate their nervous system so they can live in the promise. They had to being. They had to grow into that be to live in the promise. Watch this. Watch this. I want you to really see this. You can't take a survival nervous system into your promise. Freedom requires internal rewiring of your brain and retraining your nervous system to feel safe, because process is regulation, not punishment. Man, I'm going to say that again. You cannot take a survival mentality, right, from your amygdala, the program plan, right? Survival mentality, a nervous system that's in fight or flight, into the promise, into the dream. It don't work that way. Freedom requires internal rewiring of the brain, renewing the mind, and retraining the nervous system. Process is regulation, not punishment. Now you got to see this, good people. Slavery conditioned the children of Israel. The wilderness revealed that conditioning, right? And the wilderness was the process to burn that out. But they aborted their process. So they never got to live in the promise. Oh, man. Promise required trust and obedience, a new identity. They had to be, they had to become a person that had the capacity to live in the promise, to take hold of the promise. That's what the process was. That's what their wilderness state really was. Watch this. Trauma patterns don't disappear overnight. Conditioning needs awareness and repetition. Conditioning needs awareness and repetition to be rewired. Wilderness state, 11, 12-day journey took 40 years because they aborted the process, right? Because they never burnt out the impurities, the slave mentality to be able to hold the promise or live in the promise. What is the promise for you? What is your dream? What are you building? What are you going after? All of that takes a process, good people. And if you abort that process, you never build the capacity to live in it. You just end up chasing it your whole life. That's why people always talk about they chasing the dream. My thing to them is, when you gonna catch the damn dream? You've been chasing it for a while. When you gonna catch it and live in it? You know how you catch it and live in it? By enduring the process, by regulating yourself, right? By turning off that slave mentality, right? Right. So becoming the person that can really live in the promise. That means habits, thoughts, environments, perception. Oh, come on, man. We've been hatching all month long, baby. Listen, listen. Y'all hear me talk about this. Neuropsychology, right? The brain loves patterns. The nervous system prioritizes safety. Familiar feels safe, even if it's unhealthy. Process builds new neural pathway. Watch this. You know how I know this is true? Because when the children of Israel got in the wilderness, right, familiar, they start complaining the whole time. Man, brought us out here to die. Man, what is this? When the manna came, what is this? Manna. The original word for manna in the Hebrew means, what is it? That's what it really means. So when they looking at this bread falling from the sky, they like, what the hell is what? Well, at least we had leeks and onions at the slave master's house. Ooh, listen to that language. Everything has a language. Because the children of Israel aborted the process, they never got rid of the slave mentality. They never regulated the nervous system, so they couldn't live or handle the promise. You can't put new wine in. Oh, there go that book again. You have to think, move, put yourself in environments, right? You have to see yourself. That's why they kept saying, man, we see ourselves as grasshoppers. Who told them that? Who told? Perception, right? They aborted the process of becoming the person who can live in the promise. So their perception about themselves was so distorted because it was from a slave mentality. Man, y'all got to see that. Your brain likes patterns. So you have to rewire that part of your brain, right? Right? To who you really are so you can live in the promise. But that takes process. Oh, man. Listen, you can't jump from step 1 to step 10. Neuroplasticity requires repetition. Neuroplasticity requires repetition. Regulation precedes sustainable change. You can't keep change up. You can't keep transformation going, right, without regulating, without constantly regulating yourself. The process, that's what it teaches you, good people. It teaches you how to be it before you hold it. And if you abort the process is how your nervous system, this is the soul truth I want you to get. The process is how your nervous system learns safety in new environments. In order for you to grow and expand, your nervous system has to feel safe. Even if those environments are good for you, if your nervous system doesn't feel safe, children of Israel, if you still got the slave mentality, children of Israel, even though the promise is fitted for you, it was told that you shall inherit that. Your nervous system doesn't feel safe to receive it. So you will wander around the same mountain, children of Israel, a 13-day journey, 40 years until they died off. God didn't kill them off, right? Right? They aborted the process. They didn't become the person or people who could hold or live in the promise. That's why the process is so important. You keep trying to rush through the process. Why I ain't there yet? Why I ain't doing this yet? Why I ain't making $1 million yet? Right? Sound familiar? That's how I was trying to rush through the process until my mind had to shift and understand, oh, the process is really making me be able to live in the dream, to be able to embody the dream day to day in my everyday reality. So if I abort my own processes, my promises are attached to that. My dream is attached to that. My vision is attached to that. I'll never get there. The process is burning out things that I don't need, things that I'm hatching from, things that I'm transforming from. And the process is doing the same thing for you. So listen. I'm about to read these questions. Man, and we about to get up out of here, good people. Listen, question number one. What process are you going through at this time in your life? Be honest. Let awareness do the work. No judgment. No, don't be critical of yourself. Number two, how are you handling that process? Remember, let awareness do the work. This ain't about being critical of yourself, judging yourself. Number three, what's the promise connected to that process? What is the expectation of the hope that's connected to that process? So listen, good people, that's day 20. Well, look, we almost done hatching, baby. Day 21 is tomorrow. Remember, let awareness do the work. Don't be critical of yourself. Don't rush the answers. When you ask yourself those questions, sit with it. Be honest. Honesty is your friend. You got to be able to be honest with yourself, right? You got to let awareness do the work. Self-awareness, right? Don't be critical. No judgment. You ain't fixing yourself because you ain't broken. Ain't nothing broken about you. You just have to rewire the part of your brain that doesn't serve you no more. From the first 7 years, you have to learn how to calm your nervous system down and take it out of fight or flight, right? You have to learn how to match your thoughts, your mind, spiritual thoughts, right? Your creative force with what you say you want, your habits, your relationships, your environments. That's the process, good people, right? So don't rush it, just sit with it. And this is when you learn to love the process. You hear people say that, right? You got to learn to love the process. When I was younger, I used to be like, hell no, I ain't learning to love no process. I had to change my mindset. Yes, I love the process because the process is what's making me become. Be it before I hold it. Good people, that's day 20. Listen, tomorrow, last day, day 21, we finish up tomorrow. If you need a next step to go deeper, click that link in my bio. Grab that Use It or Lose It 6-part audio series plus workbook, right? It's going to help you go through the process of honoring your gift, right? Getting it off the sideline and into the game. And if you need to go a little step deeper than that, then email me, flthelifecoach@gmail.com. That's FLTHA lifecoach@gmail.com for your one-on-one soul truth power session. Me and you, one-on-one. I help you get into the operating system with awareness, right? Recognize those outdated beliefs and programs, right? We plant new ones, right? And then I give you real tools, practical tools that you can use throughout your journey to keep yourself regulated so you can create the life that you was always destined to live. So listen, that's day 20, good people. Listen, that's a wrap. That's a wrap on day 20. Day 21 tomorrow. Join me tomorrow. Day 21, same bad time, same bad channel. And listen, remember, there can be no process. There can be no promise without process. You got to learn to love your process. That's a wrap, good people. Listen, let's keep hatching and growing together. FL the Life Coach, always spreading that peace and love. Twice on Sunday. Go out, attract the life of your dreams, good people. You got to learn to love the process so you can get to your promise. Join me tomorrow, 9 a.m. for the last day as we close it out. You already know what to do today. Better be you, good people. Have a great Friday.